Recording in progress.
Now 7 o'clock, we'll start the meeting. We would like to stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start this meeting today, I should like to read something. Okay, it has been brought to our attention that our city employees have been verbally harassed by members of our community. I want to make it perfectly clear that I will not tolerate it. These employees have done nothing to encourage this, nor do they deserve it. They show up every day, work hard, do their jobs, and support their families. They perform invaluable services for the community. Our public works employees should not be yelled at while working and told that they are going to lose their jobs in April. Our office staff at City Hall should not be told to F off on the phone in response to wishing someone a nice day. They are employees, they are not elected officials. It truly saddens me how nasty this campaigning has become, and it wrongfully portrays our community in a bad light. But these employees should not, under any circumstances, be subject to the ugly side of politics. These employees are the backbone of our community. If they were to leave, the city could not possibly function. These employees should not have to tolerate this behavior from anyone, and any future acts of harassment will be dealt with in an appropriate and lawful manner. Please show some courtesy to our city employees. If any member of the public ever has a complaint that they wish to make on an employee, then it should be lodged through appropriate channels and not simply converted into abuse. That's all I have to say about that.
I can promise you that no
I did not
hourly
ask you to speak,
employee
I
will
did not
be
ask you to
terminated if I win. You just made a political speech, Mayor.
That's right, I did. I would like to go ahead and review this agenda. If we could do that, please, I would appreciate it. Do we have any additions or deletions? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve. Actually, did everybody get a chance to review it?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to review the agenda for tonight.
So moved. Second.
All in, or actually, let's do a roll call vote on that, please.
Alderman Roscoe.
Aye.
Alderman Creighton. Aye. Alderman Reese.
Aye.
Okay. And then, if you wouldn't mind looking over the minutes from our last meeting, February 9th. Does anybody have any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for February 9th.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Let's move down to our bills. Anybody have any questions about our bills? Then we'll move on to our financials, reviewing our financials. Anybody have any questions or concerns about our financials? I'll entertain a motion to approve our financials.
But I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 This point, we have no old business. We're gonna start with new business. I'd like to start with the water department, please. Ms. Stella? I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's not working. So for services sold, we have $59,902.39. Payments received from February 1st to February 28th, we have $61,320.02. We had $771.34 in late fees. We had 2 meter deposits, 1 residential and 1 commercial for Redemption Road Church. And for February, we had no streetlight repairs requested.
Thank you. Well, Chief just stepped out to help us out with the mic.
Yeah, he's trying to get that ready.
Do you want me to go ahead and go back? Ms. Ross?
I've done several inspections for the new Mexican restaurant. We have completed several residential inspections, and the tornado sirens are finally fixed and working.
Still not here yet, so go ahead and move over to zoning.
We met Monday night, this past Monday night, we had 7 guests. With 2 of our guests were potential builders who were presenting their individual, building projects. They came to us, they are requesting a public hearing, which we will be scheduled for this next Monday night, starting at 6, open to the public. Following immediately after is a special meeting to vote on said rezoning. Both of them are rezoning, requests from commercial to residential. They are looking at building duplexes on the said properties at 261 West Avenue and 265 West Avenue. In your packet that you have received, and it was in your packets last month, but there was a lot to take in last month, is the proposed project of something that is posted on the website for a building cost and builder's application. And we're asking for you to review that because we do need to update it. It's not been updated since 2015 when we first created planning and zoning. Some of the costs Ms. Burlock went through and notified other cities. However, we have realized that due to preliminary site plan reviews, as well as doing public hearings, the costs have gone up to do such. Not only has paper costs gone up, the cost of mail has gone up, as well as certified. So we're asking, originally, public hearing is $250. We're asking you to take in consideration for that for the future, so that you don't have to constantly change it for at least a year or 2. But as you know, public postage constantly is going up. So another area is we reviewed off-street parking. Back in January, the project of off-street parking was brought to planning and zoning for their consideration and review as to possible making changes to adding an overlay project for the floodplain residents. we've been going back and forth for the past several months, and we did come up with something. And I presented with you a sheet that shows the suggested changes that we are recommending for your consideration. And that some of it is, to add two terms or definitions, one being off-street parking and the other being trailers, into the main, definition of the main ordinance. And then there were some things that was felt that was maybe repetitive and or found in other ordinances that should be like as a reference to go back to. And then just the basics of that. So we did make a recommendation and voted on it to recommend it to you all as consideration to, if you're considering it, then sending it to the attorney at the appropriate time. The next one is mobile home ages. So we do get calls for individuals who come in who are asking for their mobile homes to be brought into town. But sometimes our ordinance currently states 5 years and younger. Back in the early 2000s, originally the ordinance stated either 10 or 15 years and younger for the mobile home. But there was some concerns as possibly some mobile homes being brought in that did not really meet the code as to what city needed for safety reasons. So at that time, it was changed to 5 years or younger. So as a commission, several of us took upon ourselves to look and research and contact various other communities and townships to see what they have. As you know, Lincoln County does not have a planning and zoning. We contacted Troy. They said anything younger than 1976. We never got a response back from Silex. Winfield is referred to the state statute. Moscow Mills was, they only allowed in the park owners to make that decision. So it is a recommendation only that we approved that we consider to remove the ordinance of age altogether. There was other facts in considering this. One was, it was presented that there were class action suits around areas in which stated because of the age. So that's why we made that consideration. So we have two recommendations to you, off-street and the mobile home age.
I have a question. When you did your research for the state, what did the state recommend?
State actually does not have, we could not find anything for mobile homes. They changed the term to manufactured homes. They have no, we could not find anything. And we even attempted to try to contact, and we were not able to get a hold of anybody. So, yeah. Okay. So it was very interesting. So, okay. And that I yield back to you. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay. Has anybody had a chance to review any of this? Do you guys have any questions for planning and zoning or?
I'd like to be able to read through it more.
Yeah, of course. I just didn't know if you have any questions. Okay. Chief, we skipped you. We're gonna come back to you.
No, thank you, Mayor. Is it working now? Okay. Officer Brown and our K-9 Don are created a coloring contest with prizes to be awarded for the kids up to ages of 18. He will choose the winners later on this month. I received some estimates to repair car 104, which has been down for a little while because it needs a new engine. I've got 2 quotes back. I'm waiting on a third one from Bellman. New engine with warranty and labor. One quote I have is for $9,037.82. Another one is for between $9,500 and $10,000. I'm still waiting for Bellman to give me their quote. looking into pricing for trading cards for Canine Don to be able to hand out to kids or people that, on the streets, just to give some stats about him and, just something to be able to have with the dog. And we're also, process of ordering the, equipment for, that was funded by the DPS grant, and we're also exploring other fundraising ideas for the, canine unit, so we continue to do it at no cost to the city.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay. And then now we're gonna move down to 2023 budget. We talked about this last month, and we wanted to get it kind of squared away a little bit. Everybody had a chance to look over the budget.
I think we could probably do
You wanna do the event?
I think we could probably use some of those funds.
In other areas?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
what would you recommend to put that?
what
into?
we've always had,
Do you wanna put that like in the streets, or?
yeah,
do you-
yeah,
okay.
definitely in the streets.
Okay,
Hear that.
did you make a note and just make those changes?
Yeah.
Do you have any other suggestions? Okay. So, are you wanting to eliminate all of the events, or?
No,
just
not eliminate
kind of
all of it, I just think we probably.
Bring it down a little bit?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
probably about by half.
okay. Anybody else have any other suggestions? I'll entertain a motion to actually approve our budget with those changes. Bringing the event down to half and putting that into the streets.
So moved.
Second?
And then actually for this one, I'm going to have a roll call vote.
Alderman Craig?
Yes.
Alderman Reed?
Aye.
Alderman Chakowski?
Aye.
Okay. Now we move down to public comment. The first person for our public comment, Mr. Herb Crosby. You have the floor.
I don't think I'll need that. This is the way you expect to see me dressed in court. And I expect to see some present and past members in this very same forum. First, I want to know under what statutory authority does our city attorney derive its, well, for the last 6 months, he's chaired a handful of meetings. And to my knowledge, only the mayor or the president of the Board of Alderman can chair those meetings. And I don't see anything in the ordinances where the mayor can delegate that authority. So I'd like to know why he was conducting city meetings. Second, Chapter 32, Code of Conduct Ethics. This applies to employees and officials. It explicitly says that if you reveal confidential information, which Alderman Kreitz already admitted, and it's been published in the Lincoln County Journal, as she admitted. She did on myself and Brenda. And the consequences of that are either, I'm paraphrasing, she resigned for the good of the city, the good of the city is mentioned in that, or this board does an impeachment and terminates her time here. Now, I gave you notice before the last meeting. That Monday, we sent an email with the evidence of it. You acted like it hadn't even happened, and it was the first you heard of it. And I called for it in the last meeting. So this is the last time I'm gonna ask. Do your duty.
I don't know why you keep going off on Robin. She's trying to work for the city.
I don't care what she's done. It's in your ordinances, and you people like to apply those ordinances to us, but you don't seem to think any of the city's ordinances apply to you. We'll agree to disagree.
Ms. Sargent?
Yes, I had questions regarding the closed meetings and the minutes that are being put out. There's absolutely no information in them. I've looked back on past minutes and they will say there was disciplinary action, person was fired, hired, resigned, something of that nature. I'm just in the last 6 months, I don't see anything. And then the next part of that is there was a slew of meeting minutes approved this August. I was wondering what the reasoning was behind that for the last year and a half.
We were behind our minutes, I'm not going to deny that.
Okay.
We were unaware of that. That was my fault. I should have definitely been paying better attention to that. They need to be taken care of. They need to be approved.
Are there ledgers still from the original meetings on those? Since the minutes?
We
Okay.
all of them.
Yeah, so, I don't know the specifics of those closed meetings, but, you know, certain things from closed, meetings become available to the public. So, for instance, if you go into a closed session to discuss the hiring or firing of an employee and there's a vote taken, those votes become available to the public. If there are no votes taken, there isn't anything to disclose to the public, similar. So it depends on, and again, I don't know the specifics of particular meetings. If there were votes taken, those should be available. If there weren't votes taken, there isn't anything that would be available. Similar with real estate, you know, if you're going to discuss the possibility of selling real estate, but don't vote on anything, there isn't anything that becomes later available unless you then actually sell the real estate. So there are kind of trigger events of when things become available.
All right, I'll send over the specific ones.
Sure, yeah,
Okay.
then they can figure out what needs to be disclosed.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we have, I'm sorry, is that on you?
No, thank you.
All right. And then, Mr. James Erhan, you have the floor, sir.
Oh, probably a year or two ago, I let you guys know that some of your ordinances are outdated. So members keep saying they do a good job checking. 75.20 is a helmet law for the city of Winfield. In 2020, Missouri got rid of the universal helmet law. Why does the city still have it as an ordinance? I'd like to see it removed out of the ordinances. That's all I got.
Thanks, sir.
So we're just gonna ignore what I requested. All right. I'll ignore you too till April.
And now, we will, we are going to go into closed session.
Address down the entire community.
If you would like, so then that was.
A couple of things I was mentioned. One, I do not chair the meeting. I'm the attorney. I serve the pleasure of the board. I'm the parliamentarian. I answer questions and help processes. That's my role. I'm not the vet. And then in terms of, I think there's an expectation that maybe that demands can be made that can be acted upon outside the realms of due process. Obviously, the gentleman who just left had concerns. He's raised them. To my understanding, he reported them to the appropriate authorities and they're being investigated, and due process requires for everyone that allegations are investigated. And
That's the criminal side.
Yeah, so,
That's not the ethical side on this board.
it's the board, if someone on the board wants to make a, request that I drop the impeachment, that's the process, but it's not something that gets handled during public comment, and everyone's entitled to due process. And then that, Mayor, is, if you want, motion.
Next meeting.
Oh, you do
Yeah,
next week.
that's okay, we can talk about next week. Okay, so we have on here that our next board meeting will be Thursday, April 13th, 7 p.m.
And then, Mayor, if you wanted to call for the motion for a closed session, it'd be a motion to adjourn the open session and enter into closed session pursuant to section 610.021, subsections 1 and 3 for discussions of legal counsel and to discuss personnel matters. And that upon the adjournment of the closed session, we will not be re-entering an open session. So if you want to call for something, say so, please.
You won't be.
It says you are.
Yeah, the concern is that might cause confusion and we don't want people hanging around to then find out there's no further business. So that motion will mean that when we adjourn the open session, there will be no further open things, so people know they don't have to hang out for the next hour to find out if any other business happens. There won't be any business conducted in an open session after the closed session. It's to try and accommodate you all, so you know that when it's done, it's done.
I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session, please.
So moved.
Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Lee,
Aye.
Alderman Moskowski,
Aye.
Alderman Price.
Okay, if you'd like to just take a 15 real quick and come right on back.
Okay.